Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you guys are new here, my name is Nkenna. I am responsible for everything. As you guys can tell from the title of today's video, we are talking about nurse externships. So just to give you guys a little bit of background information, if you are new here, I am a second degree seeking student in a traditional BSN program. It's 4 semesters long. We have summers off, so I just completed my fall and spring semester, 3 months off for the summer. I start again in August and I graduate in May of 2020. So going ahead and diving into today's content, I just wanted to talk through nurse externships because I do have a nurse externship and just kind of give you guys some tips, pointers, and advice if you are entering nursing school, or maybe you're around that time of you want to apply for nursing externships. You just need a little bit of guidance because I know for me, it was a fuzzy gray area and I jumped right into one and I kind of wish I had a little more guidance. So hopefully this can be a tool for you or for somebody that you know. So the first thing I would say is to create Excel spreadsheets or just create a notebook, jot down on some printer paper all the hospitals in your areas that do offer an externship program. Just from talking to people that go to schools in different states, I know that there may be a limited quantity of externships or there may be an abundance of externships, and then just knowing the specifics of that program. So for some externships, you may serve in the same role as a CNA or a patient care technician, and some of them you may get to do hands-on, you may get to do a lot of procedures, you may be directly following the nurse. So just knowing the specifics and putting different things into this spreadsheet. What is the length of the externship? How much do they pay? How many people do they take for their program? Things down to what would be the commute, what specialty would you be placed in? Do you have a say in what specialty you go in? The duration, I think I've already said the duration of the externship. Are there opportunities to be offered a PRN, patient care technician role? And PRN just means as needed, which is usually what's offered for nursing students because they know that you're in school. So usually that requirement, I've only come across the PRN requirement of working once every 2 weeks. The next step would be to ask upperclassmen in your program or anybody who you know that has been through nursing school, that has done an externship in your area, of their experience in those externship programs. As always, you want to take these things with a grain of salt. Everybody's experience is going to be different, but I would definitely recommend looking at Glassdoor as a good resource and reference just to see what work experience was like at this hospital in a certain position. The next tip, and arguably the most important tip that I'm going to tell you here today, is to know when the applications open for these externships. Knowing when the applications opens allows you to prepare yourself, get your materials in order, and just be on top of it. A lot of the time, these externship programs only accept a certain number of applications and then they will cut it off, and you won't know when. It will just happen. So I know I was talking to a recruiter at one hospital and they said, yeah, we open our externships from time to time and we just let it open, and then we hit, a certain number of applications and we don't, without any notice, we just remove the job posting. So they don't say really when their application opens. You just have to periodically check their job postings, but once it's open, you want to make sure that you have everything done so you can sit down, fill out everything, and then proceed on with your day. Which brings me to my next point. You want to have an updated nursing resume. I can definitely do an in-depth video on things that you want to put on your nursing resume. However, there are some critical things that you just want to go ahead and include on there, whether it's that you're in an ADN program, BSN, LPN, LVN. I think that's like including everything, every nursing, scope of practice. You want to include that. Any certifications you have, licenses that you may have, any clinical experience you've gone through, because a lot of externships, I know just from experience and applying, they said that you had to have at least 1 semester of clinical experience under your belt before applying. So you want to include any type of clinical experience that you've had that is relevant to the job. Next, you want to have at least 2 letters of recommendation ready to go. I know that there was one externship that opened and they were one of the people who cut off once they hit a certain number of applicants, and they required you to have 3 letters of recommendation. So just having generic letters of recommendation ready to go is always a bonus. You can never go wrong, and you can use these things for jobs. You can use them for scholarships. It's just, you can use them for a lot of different things. The next step would be to be prompt with communication. You want to start off on a good foot and showing that you're professional, you answer things in a timely manner, and you just don't want to leave things lingering around. Everybody knows that we're busy nursing students. As soon as you get an email or a text, whatever it might be, you want to answer this while it's at the forefront of your mind, because we do have the tendency as nursing students to get wrapped up doing many other things, and then it just slips our mind and letting weeks go by and then you haven't responded to an email inviting you for an interview. When you do secure that interview for an externship, externship, you do want to make sure that you're arriving at least 15 minutes early. You want to make sure that you're not on your phone. You're just putting your best foot forward, really engage, observing the surroundings, thinking of questions to ask during your interview. You just want to be at peace. You just want to be gathering your thoughts and getting ready to go into the interview with a clear mind. The next tip would be to specify your area of interest. When I went for my interview for my externship, I said that I was interested in the CVICU, so the cardiovascular intensive care unit. However, they said that they do not place externs who are so new in their program. So I interviewed during first semester of my program, started in December, so on Christmas break, and then I actually, you know, transitioned and really began working full steam in January. So I started more than a year out from graduation, and they told me that they did not accept externs that far away from graduation into the CVICU as an extern. However, they told me that they did have a role that was good for me and they thought it would be a good fit, and it's like a step below CVICU, but eventually I had room to move into the CVICU. So currently I work on the cardiovascular intermediate care unit, and a lot of the patients, once they are well enough and they progress them, they come up from the CVICU to my floor. You don't want to limit yourself by saying, I only have a passion for NICU and I only have a passion for mother baby. However, you also don't want to settle. The next step would be to apply far and wide. You don't want to limit yourself to just one hospital and potentially miss out on better pay or better learning experiences. The next tip would be to know the length of the program. This relates back to the first point that we talked about. You want to know the length of the program simply for the fact that if it's only for the summer, you want to make other accommodations in case you're expecting this to carry on through the school year and continue to have a source of income. If the externship lasts for a whole year, then you want to know, okay, maybe if I get tired of this, how do I get out of this situation? Or maybe I only wanted this to be for summer and I want to go back to focusing on school full time once the summer is over. Next step would be to be open to traveling for an externship. The next step would be to be open to travel. I personally did not do this. However, I do know of people who go to school in another state and they came to this state or they went to another state for an externship. I've even talked to some classmates who talked to hospitals in other states that were willing to give them relocation stipends to accommodate them so that they could stay for the summer. And then the final tip, once you secure that externship, is to treat it as a job interview. Many people have told me that their nurse externship has led to a postgraduate interview, and even I have been told that externs are selected, they are looked at first for new grad positions. So when it comes to that coveted nurse residency, they look to these externs first. Being an extern, essentially you can see it as already having your foot in the door if you want to stay at this hospital and maybe you want to transfer to a different department. I know at my hospital, the hardest part is getting into the system. So once you're there, it's very easy to move around. Having an externship is also awesome because you build these relationships with people, and it is also another opportunity to get letters of recommendation, no matter if it's for another job at a different facility or if it's for graduate school, and even for scholarships. And then the final thing that I would say about treating it as an interview is that this can also serve for practicum placement. I know at school we were told that it is easier to get a practicum placement at certain hospitals if you work there. So again, you just want to set your best foot forward, so when it comes time for things like that, then you can get those letters of recommendation and it's easier for you to get your top choice practicum placement. So that is all that I have for you guys. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe, like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you guys enjoyed this video, definitely, I think I just said, definitely subscribe to the channel. As always, you guys can find me on Instagram. I am at a nurse named Ken with 2 N's. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, leave them down below in the comment section. And that is all that I have for you guys. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye.